What if I told you that reality as you know it is merely a reflection of your own thoughts? That the unseen forces of the universe respond to the silent whispers of your mind? Imagine unlocking a hidden power, one that allows you to reshape your existence, bend circumstances to your will, and break free from the invisible chains of limitation. Welcome to The Mental Science by Thomas Troward, a journey into the depths of the mind where thought is the architect of reality and understanding its principles grants you access to a life of boundless potential. Are you ready to step beyond the ordinary and explore the limitless power within? The subject of this book can be approached from several angles, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. After careful consideration, I have chosen to begin with the relationship between the spiritual and the material. This is a logical starting point because we can assume a shared understanding of these two concepts. At first glance, the opposition between these two ideas seems clear enough. We judge reality by outward appearances and accept conventional definitions without question. However, when we begin to probe deeper, when we question the true meaning of our words and the nature of what we perceive, the old structures of thought begin to collapse. We discover that the world we thought we knew is vastly different from what we once believed. Slowly, the old way of thinking fades, revealing a new order of existence where freedom and life reign supreme. Creative intelligence, the force that seeks truth, does not accept inherited assumptions. It pushes forward, challenging preconceived ideas and exploring new possibilities, unrestricted by past dogmas. This is the essence of mental science, an inquiry into the fundamental nature of thought and its relationship with reality. To begin our exploration, we must first ask ourselves a fundamental question. What do we mean when we speak of vitality in relation to the spiritual and inertia in relation to the material? Vitality is typically associated with movement and energy, while inertia implies stillness and resistance to change. However, modern physics teaches us that this distinction is not absolute. Matter itself, when examined at the atomic level, is in constant motion. What appears solid and motionless to the naked eye is, in reality, composed of vibrating particles moving at unimaginable speeds. Take, for example, the chair you're sitting on. It seems perfectly still and inert, yet we now know that it consists of atoms in continuous rapid vibration. If we were able to perceive this activity directly, the speed of an express train would seem insignificant by comparison. Thus, movement does not serve as a defining characteristic of either the spiritual or the material. So, if we cannot distinguish between the two by their level of activity, we must seek another point of differentiation. The solution lies in considering not just movement, but the quality of that movement. Life is not simply a matter of motion. It is a matter of intelligence. A plant is alive, but its life differs from that of an animal. An animal is alive, but its life is distinct from that of a human being. Each of these forms of life exhibits intelligence to varying degrees. The plant follows unconscious processes, the animal responds to instinct, and the human being possesses self-awareness and reasoning. The higher the intelligence, the greater the ability to direct and control activity. As intelligence increases, so does the capacity for conscious self-determination. At the lower end of the scale, life operates automatically, governed by fixed laws and reflexes. At the higher end, intelligence takes command, exerting influence over circumstances and shaping reality according to its will. From this, we arrive at a critical insight. The defining quality of the spiritual is thought, while the defining quality of the material is form. Form is always associated with limitation. A material object must occupy space, it must have boundaries, and it must conform to the physical laws that govern it. Thought, on the other hand, is not constrained by such limitations. It can extend beyond space, existing simultaneously in multiple places, and it is not bound by time. A thought conceived today may shape events in the distant future. If something exists without spatial extension, it must exist in its entirety at every point in space. Similarly, if something exists without temporal limitation, it must exist in an eternal present, without past or future. This is the nature of pure thought. This idea may seem abstract at first, but it is of vital importance in the practical application of mental science. To understand it fully is to grasp the secret of how thought influences reality. To summarize, there are two ways of viewing existence. The absolute perspective, where reality is free from the limitations of time and space. The relative perspective, where reality is experienced through the conditions of time and space. These two perspectives are not in conflict. They are complementary. Together they form the complete picture of existence. The mistake of extreme idealists is to attempt to understand the absolute without reference to the relative. The mistake of extreme materialists is to attempt to understand the relative without reference to the absolute. The truth lies in the unity of both. Just as we cannot understand the inside of a thing without considering its outside, or comprehend light without recognizing darkness, so too must we consider both the absolute and the relative in our understanding of reality. This balance is essential to grasping the full power of mental science. Chapter 2. Higher degrees of intelligence controlling the lower. In the grand hierarchy of existence, we find a continuous scale of intelligence, stretching from the highest cosmic mind down to the smallest and seemingly inanimate forms of matter. The descent from self-aware personality to lifeless materiality is not abrupt. Rather, it follows a gradual slope, with intelligence being the defining factor at every stage. The universe is not a chaotic or random collection of objects. It is a highly organized system, governed by principles of intelligence. From the vast celestial bodies moving in perfect mathematical precision to the microscopic structures of life, everything is bound by a supreme order. This suggests that intelligence is not an accidental byproduct of evolution, but rather the fundamental principle behind all things. If we observe the progression of life, we notice a distinct pattern. The higher the intelligence, the greater the ability to direct and control. The lower forms of life, such as plants, exist in a state of passive adaptation. Animals possessing a more developed nervous system can respond actively to their environment, moving toward food and away from danger. Humans, at the highest level of intelligence, possess the unique ability to reason, plan, and shape their environment according to their will. From this, we arrive at an essential truth. Higher intelligence always controls the lower. This principle is evident in every aspect of existence. If we examine the natural world, we see that each level of intelligence governs and directs the one below it. Let us take a few examples. Our physical body, composed of countless cells, does not operate independently. It follows the instructions of the mind, both consciously and unconsciously. If we decide to raise our hand, the body obeys. If we wish to speak, the vocal cords respond instantly. Even processes we are unaware of, such as digestion, heartbeat, and immune function, are influenced by the mind at a subconscious level. Animals, while not possessing the same level of reasoning ability as humans, still exhibit intelligence. Their behaviors are guided by instinct, which is a form of subconscious intelligence inherited through evolution. A bird does not need to be taught how to build a nest, nor does a salmon require a map to return to the exact river of its birth. These actions are programmed into them by a greater intelligence operating at an unseen level. At the largest scale, planets revolve around stars, and galaxies move in precise formations. The laws governing motion, gravity, and thermodynamics suggest an underlying intelligence that maintains cosmic order. If intelligence were not present, the universe would collapse into chaos. It becomes evident, then, that intelligence is not merely something confined to human minds. It is a universal force that operates at every level of existence. The greater the intelligence, the greater its control over lower forms of reality. From the perspective of mental science, life and intelligence are inseparable. To be alive is to think, adapt, and evolve. The higher the intelligence, the greater the ability to influence and shape reality. At the highest level of intelligence lies the universal mind, the infinite intelligence that governs all things. This intelligence is the creative force behind the cosmos, the source of all laws and principles. Just as a human mind controls the body, the universal mind governs the fabric of reality. This understanding leads to a profound realization. The more we align our thoughts with higher intelligence, the greater our ability to direct and shape our lives. The less we engage with intelligence, the more we become subject to the lower forces of nature. acting passively rather than actively. This distinction marks the difference between an enlightened individual who consciously shapes their destiny and an unconscious individual who merely reacts to circumstances. Self-recognition is one of the hallmarks of higher intelligence. The more a being is aware of itself, the greater its power over its surroundings. A rock, for instance, has no self-recognition. It simply exists. A plant, while alive, does not consciously recognize itself. An animal possesses some level of self-awareness, but it is limited by instinct. A human, however, has the power to reflect on their own thoughts, question their own existence, and make decisions based on rational thought. This power of self-recognition is what allows human beings to transcend limitations. It enables us to rise above our instincts, control our emotions, and manifest our desires into reality. It is this quality that makes mental science possible. The moment we realize that our thoughts shape our reality, we take control of our lives. Instead of being driven by unconscious forces, we become the architects of our own destiny. However, self-recognition is not merely about realizing our power. It is also about understanding our relationship with the greater intelligence of the universe. There is a clear distinction between individual intelligence and cosmic intelligence. While each of us possesses our own personal mind, that mind is ultimately a branch of the universal mind. Just as a wave is part of the ocean, our thoughts are extensions of the infinite intelligence that governs all things. When we recognize this connection, we gain access to limitless creative power. This is why individuals who study mental science often experience profound transformations in their lives. By understanding the principles of universal intelligence, they align themselves with forces far greater than their own individual will. Consider the following analogy. A person struggling against the current of a river will exhaust themselves, making little progress. A person who learns to move with the current will travel great distances effortlessly. The same is true for intelligence. We struggle and suffer when we try to force reality to conform to our will without understanding the greater order of things. But success comes easily when we align our thoughts with the natural flow of universal intelligence. This is why mental science emphasizes understanding the laws of reality rather than fighting against them. By working with intelligence principles, we gain mastery over our own lives. Understanding these principles is not merely an intellectual exercise. It has direct and powerful applications in daily life. When we recognize that thought controls reality, we stop feeling powerless in the face of external events. Instead of blaming luck, fate, or others, we take responsibility for shaping our destiny. Many ancient and modern teachings confirm that the body responds to the mind. By aligning our thoughts with health, vitality, and wholeness, we activate the intelligence within ourselves, allowing the body to heal itself. Wealth and success are not random occurrences. They are the result of aligning with the laws of abundance. Individuals who understand the mental principles of prosperity attract opportunities effortlessly. True wisdom comes from understanding the connection between the individual and the infinite. When we cultivate higher intelligence, we gain insight into the mysteries of existence, leading to a life of greater meaning and fulfillment. The path to mastery lies in conscious alignment with universal intelligence. The more we recognize our own creative power, the greater our ability to shape our lives. The more we harmonize our thoughts with the intelligence that governs the cosmos, the more effortlessly success, health, and fulfillment flow into our experience. Higher intelligence always controls the lower. The question is, will you allow unconscious forces to dictate your life, or will you rise above them and take control? The choice is yours. Chapter 3. The Unity of Mind. In the vast and intricate workings of the universe, there is a fundamental truth that governs all existence, the unity of mind. At the core of reality, beneath all forms, matter, and individual consciousness, lies a singular, infinite intelligence. This intelligence is the foundation upon which everything rests. It is the unseen force that binds the cosmos together, the essence of all thought, creation, and life itself. As we explore the depths of mental science, we begin to realize that the separation we perceive between ourselves and the world around us is, in truth, an illusion. The individual mind and the universal mind are not separate entities. They are one. The understanding of this unity is not just a philosophical concept, but a key that unlocks the full potential of human thought, allowing us to shape reality in accordance with our highest vision. From an early age, we are conditioned to see ourselves as separate from everything else. We are taught that we are individual beings, distinct from other people, from nature, and from the universe itself. This perspective, while useful for navigating the physical world, is a limited and incomplete view of reality. Imagine a wave rising from the ocean. To an observer, it may appear to be a separate entity, a unique form moving across the surface of the water. But in truth, the wave is not separate from the ocean. It is the ocean momentarily shaped into a particular form. The same is true of human consciousness. We are not isolated fragments of intelligence, but rather individual expressions of the one universal mind. This realization has profound implications. If the mind is truly one, then the boundaries we place between ourselves and the world around us are artificial. Every thought, every intention, and action we take influence the whole. Just as a wave cannot exist independently of the ocean, we cannot exist independently of the universal mind. Fully grasp unity of mind, we must distinguish between two aspects of intelligence. The universal mind. This is the infinite intelligence that pervades all existence. It is the source of all knowledge, the creative force behind the universe, and the foundation of all thought. The universal mind is impersonal, meaning it does not possess individual desires or preferences. Instead, it operates according to principles and laws that govern reality, the individual mind. This is the personal expression of intelligence that we experience as our own consciousness. While it appears to be separate from the universal mind, it is, in fact, an extension of it. The individual mind has the ability to think, reason, and create, but it is always drawing upon the infinite resources of the universal mind. The relationship between the individual and the universal mind is like that of a drop of water in the ocean. While a single drop may appear to be distinct, it contains within it the same essence as the vast body of water from which it originates. Similarly, every individual mind is an expression of the infinite intelligence that governs the cosmos. When we align our individual consciousness with the greater intelligence of the universal mind, we tap into a boundless source of power, wisdom, and creativity. This is the secret behind great inventions, profound insights, and extraordinary human achievements. Those who recognize and embrace this unity gain access to abilities far beyond what they previously imagined possible. In recent years, scientific discoveries have provided further confirmation of the unity of mind. Quantum physics, for example, has revealed that the universe is deeply interconnected at the most fundamental level. Experiments have shown that particles separated by vast distances can instantaneously influence one another, a phenomenon known as quantum entanglement. This suggests that reality is not composed of isolated objects, but rather of a vast, interconnected web of energy and information. This aligns perfectly with the principles of mental science. If everything in the universe is connected at a fundamental level, then our thoughts, intentions, and emotions are not confined to our own minds. They extend outward, influencing the world around us in ways we are only beginning to understand. Many experiments in psychology and neuroscience have also demonstrated the power of thought to shape reality. Studies have shown that people who engage in visualization exercises, mentally rehearsing a desired outcome, are far more likely to achieve their goals than those who do not. Athletes, for example, have been found to improve their performance simply by imagining themselves executing their movements with precision. This suggests that the mind does not merely observe reality, it actively shapes it. If thought has the power to influence physical outcomes, then it follows that the collective thoughts of humanity have a profound impact on the world as a whole. This is why understanding the unity of mind is so crucial. When we become conscious of our connection to the universal intelligence, we gain the ability to shape our reality with intention and purpose. Understanding the unity of mind is not just an abstract concept. It has direct and practical applications in everyday life. By aligning our thoughts with the greater intelligence of the universe, we can achieve remarkable transformations in every area of our experience. When we recognize that our thoughts are connected to the greater intelligence of the universe, we begin to see that we are not merely passive observers of reality. We are active participants in its creation. Every thought we hold, every belief we reinforce, and every expectation we cultivate sends ripples through the universal mind, influencing the circumstances we experience. The body is an expression of the mind, and as such, it responds to the thoughts and beliefs we hold about it. Countless studies have shown the power of the mind to influence physical health. Placebo studies, for example, have demonstrated that people who believe they are receiving effective treatment often experience real healing, even when the treatment itself is inactive. This suggests that the mind possesses an inherent ability to direct the body toward health and well-being. If all minds are fundamentally one, then every interaction we have with others is, in a sense, an interaction with another aspect of ourselves. This understanding fosters empathy, compassion, and a deeper appreciation for the interconnectedness of all people. Conflicts dissolve when we recognize that we are not separate from one another, but are instead part of a shared consciousness. Fear arises from the belief in separation, the idea that we are alone, vulnerable, and at the mercy of external forces. When we recognize the unity of mind, this illusion dissolves. We come to understand that we are never truly alone, that we are supported by an infinite intelligence, and that we have access to limitless potential. Achieving a deep awareness of the unity of mind requires practice and discipline. It is not enough to simply understand this principle intellectually. We must embody it in our daily lives. Here are some steps to cultivate unity consciousness. Regular meditation allows us to quiet the noise of the individual mind and connect with the vast intelligence of the universal mind. Through stillness, we gain insight, clarity, and a profound sense of connection to all things. By consciously directing our thoughts toward positive and constructive outcomes, we align ourselves with the creative power of the universe. Repeating affirmations and visualizing success helps reinforce our connection to the greater intelligence that governs reality. Acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion strengthen our awareness of unity. When we help others, we are in essence helping ourselves, because there is no true separation between us and the rest of humanity. Letting go of doubt and fear allows us to align more fully with the flow of universal intelligence. Trusting in the process of life and surrendering to its wisdom opens the door to infinite possibilities. The greatest realization a person can have is the understanding that all is one. The separation we perceive is but an illusion, and beneath it lies the infinite intelligence of the universe. By embracing this truth, we unlock the full potential of our minds, gaining the ability to shape reality in accordance with our highest aspirations. The question is no longer whether we are connected to the greater intelligence of the universe. It is whether we choose to recognize and use this connection to transform our lives. Chapter 4. Subjective and Objective Mind. One of the most profound discoveries in the study of mental science is the realization that the human mind operates on two distinct levels, the subjective mind and the objective mind. While they appear to function separately, they are in reality two aspects of the same mental force, working in unison to shape our experiences, perceptions, and ultimately, our reality. Understanding the difference between these two aspects of the mind, and more importantly, how to use them effectively, is the key to mastering mental science. The interplay between the subjective and objective mind determines our ability to create, heal, and manifest our desires. We unlock the full potential of our minds, gaining the ability to shape reality in accordance with our highest aspirations. The question is no longer whether we are connected to the greater intelligence of the universe. It is whether we choose to recognize and use this connection to transform our lives. Chapter 4. Subjective and Objective Mind. One of the most profound discoveries in the study of mental science is the realization that the human mind operates on two distinct levels, the subjective mind and the objective mind. While they appear to function separately, they are in reality two aspects of the same mental force, working in unison to shape our experiences, perceptions, and ultimately, our reality. Understanding the difference between these two aspects of the mind, and more importantly, how to use them effectively, is the key to mastering mental science. The interplay between the subjective and objective mind determines our ability to create, heal, and manifest our desires. Those who understand this relationship can direct their thoughts and beliefs toward success, health, and fulfillment. Those who remain unaware of it, however, allow their minds to function automatically, often reinforcing patterns of fear, limitation, and struggle. This chapter will explore the nature of both the objective and subjective mind, their distinct roles, and how we can consciously harness their power to transform our lives. The objective mind, also known as the conscious mind, is the aspect of intelligence responsible for interacting with the external world. It is the seat of rational thought, logic, reasoning, and analysis. Through the five senses, it gathers information, processes data, and makes decisions based on observed reality. This is the part of the mind we are most familiar with in our daily lives. It is the mind that calculates, debates, and forms opinions. It is what allows us to engage in conversation, perform tasks, and navigate the physical world with awareness. The objective mind plays several crucial roles. The objective mind interprets the world through sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. It processes information, categorizes experiences, and assigns meaning to external events. This is the part of the mind responsible for problem-solving, deductive reasoning, and making judgments based on facts and observations. The objective mind is responsible for conscious effort and discipline. It is what allows us to focus on tasks, resist distractions, and make deliberate choices. It acts as a gatekeeper, determining what information is important and what should be ignored. Without this filter, the mind would be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of sensory input we receive every second. While the objective mind is a powerful tool, it has one major limitation. It can only process what is directly observable and measurable. It is bound by time, space, and logical constraints, and it often disregards factors that cannot be immediately proven. This is where the subjective mind comes into play. The subjective mind, also known as the subconscious or unconscious mind, operates on a completely different level. It is not limited by logic, time, or space. Instead, it functions on the plane of pure intelligence, intuition, creativity, and belief. Unlike the objective mind, which is engaged with external reality, the subjective mind governs the internal world, the realm of emotions, imagination, memory, and intuition. It is the creative power that shapes our experiences based on the impressions and beliefs we hold. The subjective mind has several defining characteristics. The subjective mind stores every experience, emotion, and thought we have ever had. It never forgets anything, even if the conscious mind cannot recall certain details. Unlike the objective mind, which can analyze and reject ideas, the subjective mind accepts whatever it is given. If an idea is impressed upon it repeatedly, it will accept it as true, whether that idea is beneficial or harmful. The subjective mind is not confined by the physical world. It can access knowledge beyond immediate perception, making it responsible for intuition, inspiration, and creative insights. The subconscious mind governs all involuntary bodily functions, such as heartbeat, digestion, and immune responses. This is why beliefs and emotions can directly impact physical health. The subjective mind is the engine of creation. Whatever is deeply believed or repeatedly affirmed in the subconscious eventually manifests in the external world as circumstances, health conditions, and life experiences. Because the subjective mind does not distinguish between true and false, possible and impossible, it simply follows whatever pattern of thought is most dominant. This is why our habitual thoughts, whether positive or negative, become self-fulfilling prophecies. The interaction between these two aspects of the mind determines the course of our lives. The objective mind is the master, while the subjective mind is the servant. However, in most people, this relationship is reversed. The subconscious mind operates based on unconscious programming rather than conscious direction. If the objective mind is the gatekeeper, the thoughts, beliefs, and impressions it allows to pass into the subjective mind become the blueprint for reality. This means that a person who constantly thinks about failure and struggle will reinforce those conditions in their subconscious, leading to more of the same. A person who deliberately fills their mind with thoughts of success, health, and abundance will program their subconscious to manifest those realities. Most people are unaware of this dynamic, which is why they feel powerless against negative habits, emotions, and circumstances. They do not realize that their subjective mind is simply following the commands it has been given, whether consciously or unconsciously. Since the subjective mind accepts whatever is impressed upon it, we must take control of what we allow to enter it. By consciously directing our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, we can reprogram our subconscious to work in our favor. Here are some effective methods for doing so. Repeating positive statements about yourself and your desired reality reinforces those ideas in the subconscious mind. Statements like, "I am healthy, strong, and successful," create new mental patterns that lead to actual change. The subconscious mind responds powerfully to images. By vividly imagining your goals as already achieved, you impress those images upon the subjective mind, which then works to manifest them in reality. When the mind is in a calm, relaxed state, such as just before sleep, it is more receptive to suggestion. This is the best time to introduce new beliefs and ideas into the subconscious. The subconscious mind is activated by emotion. Simply thinking positive thoughts is not enough. They must be felt deeply. When you attach strong emotions to an idea, it imprints itself on the subconscious far more effectively. The subconscious does not change overnight. Just as physical muscles require consistent exercise to grow stronger, mental patterns require consistent reinforcement to take root. The objective mind is the rational, reasoning aspect that interacts with the physical world. The subjective mind is the creative force that governs our reality. The key to mental mastery lies in understanding the relationship between the two. By consciously choosing what to think and how to direct our attention, we shape the subconscious patterns that determine our destiny. Once we learn to harness this power, we cease to be victims of circumstance and become the architects of our own fate. The mind is the most powerful tool we possess. The question is, are you using it to create the life you desire, or are you allowing unconscious patterns to dictate your fate? Chapter 5. Further considerations. Regarding the subjective and objective mind. The distinction between the subjective and objective mind is one of the most critical principles in mental science. It explains not only how we think, but also how we create, how we heal, and how we manifest our desires. In the previous chapter, we explored their fundamental differences and how they interact. Now we will dive deeper into their relationship, uncovering advanced insights that will allow us to use them with greater precision and mastery. We have already established that the objective mind governs logic, analysis, and conscious decision-making, while the subjective mind is responsible for intuition, creativity, and the manifestation of our deepest beliefs. However, understanding their mechanics is only the first step. To truly harness their power, we must learn to bridge the gap between them and consciously program the subconscious to serve our highest aspirations. One of the most fascinating aspects of the subjective mind is that it never rests. Even while the objective mind sleeps, the subconscious remains active, processing information, reinforcing beliefs, and influencing the body and environment. This explains why dreams often provide solutions to problems, why deeply ingrained fears persist despite conscious effort, and why people wake up with fresh ideas or insights. Because the subjective mind operates 24/7, the thoughts and emotions we impress upon it throughout the day continue to shape our reality even while we are unaware. This is why it is crucial to carefully monitor our habitual thought patterns. They are the instructions we are continuously feeding the subconscious. If a person goes to bed each night filled with thoughts of fear, anxiety, or limitation, those impressions sink deeper into the subconscious, reinforcing negative patterns. Conversely, if one enters sleep with thoughts of peace, success, and abundance, the subconscious works through the night to manifest those conditions. This is why many spiritual traditions emphasize the power of prayer, affirmation, and meditation before sleep. They act as a final, powerful impression upon the subconscious before the objective mind shuts down for the night. The subjective mind is highly suggestible. It accepts what is repeatedly presented to it, whether true or false. This is both a great strength and a potential weakness. Positive suggestions. When we deliberately affirm success, health, and well-being, the subconscious begins working to manifest these conditions. Repeating empowering statements such as, I am strong, capable, and destined for greatness, gradually programs the subconscious to create these realities. Negative suggestions. Unfortunately, the subconscious does not discriminate between positive and negative suggestions. If we repeatedly tell ourselves, I am unlucky, I always fail, I am unworthy, the subconscious will accept these beliefs as commands and shape reality accordingly. This is why negative self-talk is so dangerous. It acts as an unconscious, hypnotic suggestion, reinforcing exactly what we wish to avoid, around external suggestions. The subconscious is not only influenced by our own thoughts, but also by the words and beliefs of others. This is why advertising, social conditioning, and peer influence are so powerful. They plant suggestions in the subconscious that shape our behaviors and expectations. If a child is repeatedly told, "You are not smart," that belief can become a deeply ingrained subconscious reality, limiting their potential for life. Protecting against negative suggestions. To guard against harmful suggestions, we must reject negative statements about ourselves, whether they come from within or from others. Affirm positive truths daily to counteract unconscious programming. Be mindful of what we consume, the media, conversations, and information we expose ourselves to. Most people go through life unaware of the mental programming that governs their actions. Because the subjective mind operates below the level of conscious awareness, it absorbs and enacts beliefs without questioning them. This is why limiting beliefs about money, relationships, health, and success can persist even when we consciously desire change. The subconscious has been conditioned through repetition and emotional intensity, and unless we actively work to reprogram it, those old patterns will continue to dominate our lives. One of the most practical applications of the subjective mind is its role in healing and health. Since the subconscious governs the body's involuntary functions, it has a direct influence on physical well-being. Throughout history, there have been countless cases of individuals overcoming illness through the power of belief. This phenomenon, often called the placebo effect, demonstrates that the mind alone can trigger profound healing responses in the body. Mental treatment operates on the principle of suggestion, impressing the subconscious with the idea of perfect health until the body conforms to that image. How mental treatment works. Relax the mind. Enter a calm, meditative state where the subconscious is most receptive. Visualize perfect health. Imagine the body as strong, whole, and vibrant. Use positive affirmations. Repeat statements such as, "Every cell in my body is healthy and full of life." Engage emotion. Feel gratitude and joy as if the healing has already occurred. Persist until manifestation. Repetition and consistency reinforce the subconscious belief until it translates into physical reality. Countless individuals have reversed illnesses, overcome chronic conditions, and restored vitality through mental treatment. This is not wishful thinking, but the scientific application of the mind's ability to direct the body's functions. The relationship between the objective and subjective mind is the key to mastering mental science. The objective mind directs, while the subjective mind creates. When we consciously program the subconscious with empowering beliefs, we take control of our destiny. When we learn to consciously use these principles, we gain the power to reshape our world from the inside out. Chapter 6. The Law of Growth. The law of growth is an undeniable force governing all aspects of life, from the development of a seed into a towering tree to the formation of thoughts that shape human destiny. It is a universal principle that dictates that whatever is nourished expands, and whatever is neglected diminishes. This law operates consistently, whether in the material world, where physical forms take shape and evolve, or in the mental world, where ideas and beliefs solidify into reality. Every thought we entertain, every belief we reinforce, and every mental pattern we repeat is like a seed planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind. Whether the crop is one of success and abundance or struggle and limitation depends entirely on what is cultivated and allowed to take root. At the heart of the law of growth is the understanding that thought precedes manifestation. Everything that exists in the external world was first conceived as an idea. The house you live in, the clothes you wear, the career path you follow, all work nurtures thoughts of prosperity, or initially thoughts before they became reality. Thoughts, when repeatedly entertained with conviction, gather momentum and solidify into beliefs. Beliefs then drive actions, and actions create results. If a person consistently health and happiness, they inevitably cultivate a reality that reflects these qualities. Conversely, if one dwells on fear, doubt, and limitation, the subconscious mind, being entirely obedient, will nurture these conditions and bring them into experience. The challenge for many individuals is that they unconsciously allow the law of growth to work against them. Without deliberate control over their thoughts, they often cultivate seeds of negativity, worrying about failure, anticipating disappointment, or fearing rejection. These thoughts, once repeated enough, begin to take on the appearance of truth. A person who constantly tells themselves that they are unlucky, unworthy, or doomed to struggle will, by the very nature of the law of growth, continue to experience situations that reinforce these beliefs. The mind is always listening, and it expands whatever it is given, whether constructive or destructive. To harness the law of growth effectively, one must become an intentional gardener of the mind. Just as a farmer carefully selects the best seeds, ensures they receive proper sunlight and water, and protects them from weeds, so must an individual cultivate only the thoughts and beliefs that serve their highest potential. This requires not only eliminating destructive thought patterns, but also replacing them with affirmations of success, well-being, and possibility. The key is consistency, repeating and reinforcing positive thoughts until they become dominant in the subconscious mind. The moment the mind fully accepts a belief, it begins working tirelessly to bring it into physical existence. Patience is a crucial element in this process, for growth rarely happens overnight. Just as a tree does not bear fruit the day after it is planted, the transformation of thoughts into reality follows an organic timeline. Many people falter because they expect immediate results and, upon seeing none, abandon their efforts. They do not realize that the subconscious continues to work beneath the surface, shaping circumstances and attracting the necessary conditions for manifestation. Faith in the unseen process is essential. Those who trust in the law of growth and persist without doubt will inevitably reap the rewards of their mental cultivation. The greatest secret of the law of growth is that it is impartial and infinite. There is no limitation to what can be expanded through thought, nor is there any restriction on who can use it. The only difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is how they apply the law. Some nurture thoughts of abundance and take consistent action toward their visions, while others unknowingly reinforce patterns of lack and fear. The universe does not judge, it merely reflects. The mind does not discriminate, it simply obeys. Once this truth is grasped, one gains the ultimate power to shape life according to their deepest aspirations. By understanding and applying the law of growth, one steps into true creative mastery. Every great inventor, artist, or leader throughout history has used this law, whether knowingly or not. The mind, when directed with intention, becomes a limitless source of transformation, shaping reality in alignment with one's most persistent thoughts. The question is not whether the law of growth is working. It always is. The real question is whether it is working for you or against you. To master this law is to master destiny itself. Chapter 7. The Creative Process of Thought. The creative process of thought is the invisible mechanism through which reality is shaped, structured, and brought into being. Every external condition, whether in the realm of wealth, health, relationships, or success, can be traced back to an originating thought. The mind is not merely an observer of life, but an active participant in its unfolding. It acts as a projector, casting its internal visions onto the external world. Whatever a person persistently thinks about, consciously or unconsciously, will take form in their experience. This is not speculation or wishful thinking, but a fundamental principle that governs existence. Thought is the first cause, the seed from which all things emerge, and by understanding this process, one gains the power to create deliberately rather than by default. The process of thought creation follows a precise sequence. It begins with an idea, which is the initial spark of possibility. This idea, when given repeated attention, takes on form in the mind. It is visualized, contemplated, and mentally rehearsed. With enough belief and emotional intensity, it is then impressed upon the subconscious mind, which acts as the bridge between thought and reality. The subconscious, being deeply receptive, takes this impression and begins orchestrating the conditions necessary for its manifestation. It influences perception, decision-making, and even external circumstances, attracting events, people, and opportunities that align with the dominant mental picture. Over time, what was once a mere thought becomes an undeniable reality, appearing as though it arrived from the outside world when in truth, it originated from within. Takes this impression and begins orchestrating the conditions necessary for its manifestation. It influences perception, decision-making, and even external circumstances, attracting events, people, and opportunities that align with the dominant mental picture. Over time, what was once a mere thought becomes an undeniable reality, appearing as though it arrived from the outside world when in truth, it originated from within. Despite the power of thought, many people struggle to create the life they desire because their mental energies are scattered, inconsistent, or filled with contradictions. They may entertain a vision of success one moment, but immediately follow it with doubt or fear. They wish for prosperity but hold subconscious beliefs about money being scarce or difficult to acquire. They long for health but constantly reinforce thoughts of illness or weakness. These conflicting mental signals cancel out the creative process, leading to stagnation and frustration. The mind, like fertile soil, will grow whatever is planted in it, but if opposing seeds are sown, the result is disorder rather than purposeful creation. To harness the creative power of thought effectively, clarity and conviction are essential. The mind must be trained to hold a singular vision with unwavering focus. This is why great inventors, leaders, and visionaries throughout history have demonstrated an extraordinary ability to maintain their mental picture despite obstacles. They understood that reality bends to the dominant thought pattern and that external conditions must eventually align with the internal blueprint. The secret lies in sustained mental concentration, in feeding the mind with the desired image so persistently that doubt has no room to take hold. This is the foundation of all personal transformation and achievement. Another crucial element in the creative process is emotional intensity. The subconscious mind does not respond to weak, passive thoughts. It responds to thoughts infused with feeling. Emotion acts as the fuel that powers the creative mechanism, accelerating the manifestation of an idea. This is why fear-based thoughts often materialize quickly, because they are charged with strong emotion. Likewise, thoughts of enthusiasm, gratitude, and unwavering certainty have the power to transform lives at an astonishing rate. Those who understand this principle ensure that they emotionally invest in their desires, feeling as though they have already achieved what they seek, thereby activating the subconscious in the most powerful way possible. Patience and persistence are the final ingredients in the creative process. Just as a farmer does not dig up his crops to check their progress, one must resist the temptation to doubt or disrupt the growth of an idea once it has been implanted in the subconscious. The universe works with precision, and every thought set in motion is working towards its realization, even if external evidence is not yet visible. Those who master the art of patience, who continue to hold their vision with calm expectation rather than desperate longing, find that their thoughts materialize with a sense of ease and natural progression. The key is to trust in the unseen forces at work, just as one trusts that a planted seed will eventually break through the soil. In understanding the creative process of thought, one steps into a position of true mastery over their destiny. No longer a victim of circumstance, they become an architect of reality, shaping life with deliberate intent rather than accidental reaction. They recognize that their greatest asset is the mind itself, and by directing it with intelligence, focus, and emotional power, they unlock the ability to manifest anything they desire. The world is not something happening to them. It is something happening through them. With this realization, creation ceases to be a mystery and becomes a conscious art. Chapter 8. Reciprocal action of the universal and individual mind. The individual mind and the universal mind are not separate entities, but two expressions of the same underlying intelligence. Just as a wave is part of the ocean yet distinct in its form, The individual mind is an extension of the infinite, all-encompassing consciousness that pervades the universe. This reciprocal relationship between the individual and the universal mind is the key to understanding personal power, manifestation, and spiritual evolution. The mind we call our own is, in truth, a localized point of awareness within the greater field of intelligence, and as such, it has direct access to the infinite potential of the universal. When this connection is fully realized, the limitations of human existence begin to dissolve, and the individual can operate as a co-creator with the fundamental forces of life. The universal mind is the source of all wisdom, knowledge, and creative energy. It holds within it the blueprint of every possibility, every invention, and every form that has ever existed or will exist. It is the infinite storehouse of pure potential, waiting to be shaped by the conscious intention of the individual. However, the universal mind does not impose itself upon the individual. It operates by response rather than force. Just as a mirror reflects the image placed before it, the universal mind reflects back the dominant thought patterns, beliefs, and expectations held within these unfolding in accordance with these ideas, the individual mind. This means that the quality of one's external reality is a direct reflection of the internal state of consciousness. Those who cultivate thoughts of abundance, harmony, and confidence will find their lives, while those who dwell in fear, doubt, and limitation will experience conditions that reinforce their mental atmosphere. The key to consciously interacting with the universal mind lies in understanding the role of the subconscious mind. The subconscious is the bridge between the individual and the infinite. It is through this deeper level of mind that suggestions, beliefs, and desires are transmitted to the universal intelligence. The subconscious does not question or analyze. It simply accepts and executes whatever is consistently impressed upon it. If an individual repeatedly affirms their power, success, and well-being, the subconscious mind registers these impressions and communicates them to the universal field, setting into motion the necessary circumstances for their realization. Conversely, if one fills their mind with images of failure, lack, and struggle, the same process unfolds in a negative direction. The law is impartial. It gives to each according to their mental state, without discrimination or moral judgment. Understanding the reciprocal action of the universal and individual mind also sheds light on the nature of intuition and inspired thought. Since the individual mind is connected to the infinite, it has the ability to receive guidance, insights, and solutions directly from the universal intelligence. This is often experienced as sudden inspiration, a deep knowing, or a flash of insight that seems to come from beyond the logical mind. The greatest discoveries, works of art, and breakthroughs in human history have been the result of individuals tapping into this higher level of mind. However, in order to access this wisdom consciously, one must cultivate a state of inner stillness and receptivity. The constant chatter of the conscious mind often drowns out the subtle messages of the universal, making it necessary to practice meditation, contemplation, or other methods of quieting the intellect to allow deeper intelligence to emerge. Another profound implication of this reciprocal relationship is that external circumstances do not define the individual. Rather, the individual defines their external circumstances. Many people believe that they are subject to forces beyond their control, victims of chance, fate, or societal conditions. However, those who understand the relationship between mind and reality know that the inner world dictates the outer world. The individual who claims their power and consciously directs their thoughts toward their desired reality will find that the external conditions begin to shift accordingly. This is not achieved through force or manipulation of external events, but through alignment with the universal principles that govern creation. When thoughts are clear, emotions are in harmony, and faith in the process is unwavering. The universal mind responds with absolute precision. This understanding also highlights the importance of self-concept in shaping destiny. Since the universal mind reflects back whatever is most deeply impressed upon the subconscious, the way an individual sees themselves becomes a determining factor in what they attract into their life. A person who holds the image of themselves as weak, unworthy, or incapable will continue to experience conditions that affirm this identity, no matter how much external effort they exert. On the other hand, the person who redefines themselves as powerful, creative, and deserving of success will naturally attract experiences that align with this self-image. This is why affirmations, mental rehearsals, and emotional conditioning play such a crucial role in manifestation. They reprogram the subconscious mind, which in turn directs the universal mind to produce corresponding external conditions. When the reciprocal action of the universal and individual mind is fully grasped, it becomes evident that life is not a series of random events, but a precise and perfect reflection of one's dominant mental state. The individual who masters this understanding no longer sees themselves as separate from the creative forces of the universe, but as an active participant in the unfolding of reality. With this realization, fear diminishes, struggle ceases, and existence takes on a new sense of ease and flow. By consciously aligning thought with truth, abundance, and purpose, one steps into harmonious co-creation with the infinite, unlocking the full potential of the mind and experiencing life as it was always meant to be, a reflection of infinite intelligence expressing itself through the individual. Chapter 9. Causes and Conditions. In the vast order of the universe, everything operates according to cause and effect. No event, circumstance, or condition appears randomly. Rather, all manifestations are the direct consequences of preceding causes. This principle governs both the material and the mental realms, meaning that every thought, belief, and expectation sets into motion a chain of causation that ultimately shapes one's experience. Understanding the difference between causes and conditions is essential for anyone seeking mastery over their reality. Many people mistake conditions, such as poverty, illness, or misfortune, as fixed and unavoidable realities when in fact, they are the effects of underlying causes that can be altered. The true power of the individual lies in their ability to consciously work with the first cause, thought itself, and thereby change their external conditions. A condition is merely the outward expression of a previous cause. Much like the fruit of a tree is the product of the seed that was planted. Just as a farmer cannot expect to harvest wheat after planting thorns, a person cannot expect prosperity while holding on to thoughts of lack and limitation. The mind is the first cause, and what it continuously impresses upon the subconscious mind determines the conditions that follow. If an individual persistently entertains thoughts of struggle, worry, or self-doubt, these thoughts become the blueprint from which reality is constructed. Conversely, if one cultivates a mental atmosphere of confidence, abundance, and purpose, the external world will begin to align with these inner convictions. One of the greatest errors of perception is to assume that conditions hold power over the individual. Many people believe that their circumstances, whether financial hardship, illness, or failure, are the determining factors of their lives. However, this view places power outside of oneself and leads to a sense of helplessness. The truth is that conditions are never primary causes. They are always secondary effects. No condition has power in and of itself. It only exists because of an underlying mental pattern that sustains it. Change the pattern, and the condition must change accordingly. This is why those who shift their inner consciousness, regardless of present circumstances, begin to experience a transformation in their external world. The moment a person fully realizes that conditions are only temporary reflections of thought, they gain absolute freedom over their destiny. However, there is a delay between the change in thought and the corresponding shift in external reality. Just as a planted seed requires time to sprout, so too do mental impressions require a gestation period before they manifest. This delay is where most individuals falter. They expect immediate results, and when none appear, they revert to their old thought patterns, unknowingly reinforcing the very conditions they seek to change. Patience and persistence are therefore essential in working with mental causation. Once a new thought pattern is consciously chosen and consistently reinforced, it must be nurtured with unwavering faith until it reaches full expression in the external world. Those who truly understand this law remain calm and confident, knowing that the effects will appear in perfect accordance with the mental cause. A critical distinction to understand is that while one cannot always immediately change a condition, they can always change their reaction to it. And this shift in perception is often the first step toward altering the condition itself. If an individual faces a difficult situation and responds with fear, anger, or frustration, they are reinforcing that state of mind and prolonging the negative experience. However, if they choose to see the situation as temporary, neutral, or even an opportunity for growth, they are mentally elevating themselves above the condition. This shift in consciousness signals to the subconscious mind that a new reality is being formed, and from this higher state of awareness, new solutions, ideas, and opportunities emerge. The key to working with causes rather than conditions lies in the practice of mental discipline. One must become highly selective of the thoughts they entertain, recognizing that each thought is a seed that will eventually bear fruit in the external world. Just as a wise gardener removes weeds and nurtures only the healthiest plants, so too must an individual consciously weed out negative thinking and cultivate only those ideas that align with their highest vision. This requires vigilance, self-awareness, and, most importantly, the willingness to take responsibility for one's own mind. The external world is a reflection of internal consciousness. Therefore, any real change must begin from within. When the relationship between causes and conditions is fully understood, one no longer feels at the mercy of external forces. Instead, they realize that they hold the key to shaping their own experience through the precise direction of thought. Life ceases to feel chaotic or unpredictable, and instead, it becomes a conscious creation where conditions unfold in harmony with one's chosen mental state. This is the ultimate power of the mind, to transcend mere reaction and become the architect of one's reality. Chapter 10. Intuition. Intuition is the whisper of the infinite, the silent yet profound guidance that emerges from the depths of the mind. It is the direct connection between the individual and the universal intelligence, bypassing logic, reason, and external influences. Unlike conventional knowledge, which is acquired through experience, study, and observation, intuition is instantaneous knowing, a deep awareness that arises without conscious effort. It is the voice of the subconscious mind, the bridge between the seen and the unseen, the conscious and the infinite. Those who develop their intuitive faculties gain access to insights, solutions, and inspirations that transcend the limitations of ordinary thought. The subconscious mind is continuously in contact with the universal intelligence, meaning that it holds within it an infinite reservoir of wisdom. However, most people are unable to hear its voice because their conscious mind is too noisy. They are so preoccupied with worries, distractions, and external influences that they drown out the subtle impressions rising from within. Yet when the mind is stilled, whether through meditation, contemplation, or simply a quiet moment of reflection, the intuitive faculty begins to function. It speaks in the form of gut feelings, sudden insights, vivid dreams, or an unshakable knowing that something is true even without logical proof. One of the most common manifestations of intuition is the experience of a strong feeling about a person, situation, or decision without any logical reason for it. A person may feel an immediate trust or distrust towards someone they have just met, only to later discover that their initial impression was correct. Or they may feel an urge to take a certain path in life, even when it appears illogical, only to find that it leads to unexpected success. These experiences reveal that the mind is capable of perceiving beyond the five senses, picking up on subtle energies, patterns, and truths that are not yet visible in the external world. The greatest minds in history, scientists, artists, inventors, and spiritual leaders, have relied on intuition to achieve their most groundbreaking discoveries. Albert Einstein, for instance, credited his insights to intuition rather than logical deduction. Nikola Tesla spoke of receiving entire inventions in flashes of inspiration. Great composers like Mozart described hearing entire symphonies in their minds before writing a single note. These examples demonstrate that intuition is not a vague or mystical concept. It is a practical tool for accessing higher knowledge and unlocking creative genius. However, intuition must be distinguished from mere impulse or emotional reaction. True intuition arises from a place of inner stillness and clarity, whereas impulses are often driven by fear, desire, or conditioned thinking. This is why developing intuition requires self-discipline and discernment. One must learn to differentiate between the fleeting voices of the ego and the deep, unwavering certainty of true inner knowing. A good rule of thumb is that intuition is calm, steady, and persistent, while impulse is often urgent, anxious, or erratic. The more one trusts and acts upon their intuitive impressions, the stronger and more refined this faculty becomes. The practice of listening to intuition involves cultivating a receptive state of mind. This can be achieved through silent reflection, mindfulness, or simply paying attention to one's inner nudges. Keeping a journal of intuitive impressions and later reflecting on their accuracy can also help in strengthening this ability. Over time, intuition becomes a trusted guide, leading the individual toward opportunities, solutions, and directions that the rational mind alone could never have conceived. Ultimately, intuition is the soul's guidance system, a direct connection to the infinite intelligence that governs all things. Those who learn to trust it move through life with a sense of flow, alignment, and effortless synchronicity. They no longer rely solely on external information or conventional wisdom, but instead tap into the boundless wellspring of inner knowing. When the conscious mind is trained to listen and the subconscious mind is given the space to speak, intuition becomes a compass that leads unfailingly toward one's highest path. Chapter 11. Healing. Healing is not merely a process of restoring physical well-being. It is a harmonization of the mind, body, and spirit. Every illness, discomfort, or imbalance in the physical body is a manifestation of deeper mental and emotional states. The mind is the architect of health, just as it is the architect of disease. Understanding this principle allows individuals to take control of their well-being, not merely through external treatments, but by addressing the internal causes of illness. True healing occurs when the mental and emotional patterns that give rise to disease are transformed, restoring the body to its natural state of vitality. The subconscious mind is the key to all healing. It regulates every function of the body, from the beating of the heart to the regeneration of cells. When the subconscious operates in a state of harmony and balance, the body functions effortlessly and health is maintained. However, when it is impressed with negative beliefs, fears, and emotional disturbances, these impressions manifest as physical symptoms. This explains why many illnesses appear to have no direct physical cause. They are often the result of prolonged stress, emotional trauma, or deeply held negative beliefs about oneself and the world. The body simply reflects what the mind accepts as true. One of the most profound discoveries in mental science is that belief has the power to heal or harm. The famous placebo effect demonstrates this principle clearly. In numerous medical studies, patients given a harmless sugar pill, but told that it was a powerful medicine, experienced real and measurable improvements in their health. This is not magic. It is the mind's ability to accept a belief so completely that the body responds as if it were fact. If a mere belief in healing can trigger the body's natural restorative processes, then it follows that any illness created by negative beliefs can also be reversed through positive mental reconditioning. Mental healing is based on the understanding that the body is not an independent entity, but an extension of the mind. The subconscious, which governs the body's internal causes of illness. True healing occurs when the mental and emotional patterns that give rise to disease are transformed, restoring the body to its natural state of vitality. The subconscious mind is the key to all healing. It regulates every function of the body, from the beating of the heart to the regeneration of cells. When the subconscious operates in a state of harmony and balance, the body functions effortlessly and health is maintained. However, when it is impressed with negative beliefs, fears, and emotional disturbances, these impressions manifest as physical symptoms. This explains why many illnesses appear to have no direct physical cause. They are often the result of prolonged stress, emotional trauma, or deeply held negative beliefs about oneself and the world. The body simply reflects what the mind accepts as true. One of the most profound discoveries in mental science is that belief has the power to heal or harm. The famous placebo effect demonstrates this principle clearly. In numerous medical studies, patients given a harmless sugar pill, but told that it was a powerful medicine, experienced real and measurable improvements in their health. This is not magic. It is the mind's ability to accept a belief so completely that the body responds as if it were fact. If a mere belief in healing can trigger the body's natural restorative processes, then it follows that any illness created by negative beliefs can also be reversed through positive mental reconditioning. Mental healing is based on the understanding that the body is not an independent entity, but an extension of the mind. The subconscious, which governs the body's automatic functions, can be reprogrammed with new instructions. This is why affirmations, visualization, and meditation are powerful tools in healing. When an individual repeatedly impresses the subconscious with images of vibrant health, strength, and vitality, the body begins to realign itself accordingly. The more consistent and emotionally charged these impressions are, the faster the healing process occurs. However, many people unknowingly resist their own healing by holding on to thoughts of fear, doubt, and unworthiness. They may say they wish to be healed, but continue to reinforce beliefs of helplessness or inevitability about their condition. For healing to be effective, one must fully embrace the idea that health is the natural state of being. This means not only rejecting illness, but also ceasing to identify with it. Many individuals make their illness part of their identity, saying things like, "I am a sick person," or "this disease is part of me." As long as the subconscious accepts this self-image, it will continue to produce the corresponding physical condition. The first step in healing is to detach from the identity of illness and instead adopt the mental posture of vitality, wholeness, and complete well-being. Another important factor in healing is emotional release. Many illnesses are the physical expressions of unresolved emotional pain, such as grief, anger, resentment, or fear. If these emotions remain suppressed or unprocessed, they can disrupt the body's energetic balance and manifest as disease. This is why forgiveness, both of oneself and others, is often a crucial step in healing. When one releases past hurts and emotional burdens, the body responds with renewed energy and improved health. Letting go of anger, guilt, and resentment clears the subconscious mind of negative imprints, allowing it to align with the natural state of health. Healing through mental science does not mean rejecting medical treatment. Rather, it recognizes that medicine alone treats symptoms, while the mind treats causes. Medical interventions can be valuable tools, but lasting healing requires a shift in consciousness. A person who takes medication but continues to reinforce thoughts of illness will remain unwell, whereas one who reprograms their subconscious for health will naturally gravitate toward the conditions, treatments, and lifestyle choices that support their well-being. Perhaps the most powerful testament to mental healing is the documented cases of spontaneous remission, where individuals recover from serious or even terminal illnesses without medical explanation. These cases often share a common theme. The person experienced a profound change in mindset, an emotional breakthrough, or a deep spiritual awakening. This suggests that the body is capable of far greater healing than conventional medicine acknowledges, and that the true catalyst for transformation lies in the mind's ability to align with life-giving forces. The most effective method of mental healing is visualization combined with deep conviction. One must see themselves as already healed, feel the emotions of perfect health, and persist in this belief despite appearances to the contrary. This is the essence of faith, to hold unwavering certainty in a reality not yet visible. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It simply acts upon the dominant mental image presented to it. By repeatedly feeding it with visions of wholeness, energy, and vitality, the body will naturally respond in kind. In the end, healing is not about fighting disease, but about restoring harmony. The more one aligns their thoughts with life, love, and well-being, the more the body reflects this state. Health is not something that needs to be created. It is already present beneath the layers of mental and emotional interference. When these obstacles are removed, the natural flow of life resumes, and healing unfolds effortlessly. By understanding that the mind is the true healer, one gains the power to take charge of their well-being and create a life of balance, vitality, and boundless energy. Chapter 12. Will. The power of will is one of the most misunderstood concepts in mental science. Many believe that willpower alone is the key to success, healing, and transformation. However, true creative power does not come from forceful exertion, but from alignment with the natural laws of mind and spirit. Willpower, when misused, can lead to struggle, resistance, and exhaustion, whereas when properly understood, It becomes a gentle yet unbreakable force that directs thought with precision and effectiveness. To fully grasp the role of will, one must first understand what willpower is not. It is not about forcing reality into submission, struggling against obstacles, or pushing oneself into a state of tension. Many individuals attempt to will things into existence by applying extreme effort, yet they often find themselves exhausted and defeated. This is because willpower, when used improperly, creates resistance rather than flow. The harder one pushes against an obstacle, the more it pushes back. This is why so many people fail in their attempts to change. They rely on brute force rather than understanding and aligning with the deeper currents of the mind. Instead of using will as a tool of force, one must use it as a tool of focus and direction. The true power of will is not in overpowering resistance, but in steadily holding one's thought in a single direction until it naturally manifests. This is where most people falter. They lack the persistence of will to hold on to an idea long enough for it to take root in the subconscious mind. They may start with enthusiasm, but the moment obstacles appear, doubts creep in, and they abandon their vision. The will must act as the guardian of thought, keeping it steadfast in the direction of desired outcomes. Imagine the sun's rays passing through a magnifying glass. When scattered, they produce only warmth, but when focused on a single point, they generate enough heat to ignite a fire. The same is true of the mind. When thought is scattered and inconsistent, it has little power. But when directed by a steady and unwavering will, it becomes a force of creation. The will is the concentrating factor that brings the mind's energy into sharp focus, allowing it to penetrate deeply into the subconscious, where it takes root and manifests in external conditions. However, will must work in harmony with belief. If a person tries to exert willpower over something they secretly doubt or fear, their effort will be in vain. The subconscious mind responds not to effort, but to conviction.